Delta Airlines is one of the three major U.S. carriers, the so-called Big Three, alongside United Airlines and American Airlines. It operates a fleet of nearly 1,000 aircraft, and we are speaking only about mainline Delta and not Delta Connection, which has a fleet of another 300 planes. Currently, Delta has both Boeing and Airbus aircraft. However, when you look at the orders, the airline-made Airbus is clearly prevailing here. Around 2030, the only Boeing aircraft that Delta will have will be the 737. That means that all wide-body aircraft suitable for long-haul flights will be made by European manufacturers. So why doesn't Delta have any Boeing wide-bodies on order? Wouldn't the Boeing 787 perfectly suit Delta's fleet? Let's take a look. It might surprise you, but Delta already had Boeing 787s on order. The fact that the airline never ordered the type itself is even more interesting. So what exactly happened? In 2008, Delta announced a merger with Northwest Airlines. Northwest had ordered the 18 787s back in 2005 and was expected to be the launch customer of this type in 2008. The 787s would replace the Boeing 747-200s and McDonnell Douglas DC-10s on international long-haul routes. It was expected the 787s would be about 50% more fuel efficient than those aging planes, and that would greatly increase Northwest's profitability. However, production delays at Boeing pushed back the 787's debut by several years, and the Northwest brand ceased to exist. After the merger, Delta decided to retain the order for Dreamliners, as the airline itself needed modern wide-body jets, but wasn't certain which manufacturer will it choose. In 2010, Boeing and Delta reached an agreement to defer the 787-8's delivery to 2020. The order for Boeing 787s wasn't the only one Delta inherited after the merger with Northwest, as the airline also had plans to acquire 21 A330-300s. In 2013, Delta ordered 10 more A330s to complement the former Northwest order. Then, only a year later, in 2014, Delta decided to move even further towards the Airbus widebody aircraft. The Atlanta-based airline ordered 50 new widebody jets, 25 A350-900s and 25 A330-900 Neos. At this time, everybody in the industry knew that the 787 deal was dead, which came true in 2016 when the airline officially canceled the 787 order. So why did Delta wait 2 more years to announce this decision? As you may know, the waiting time for wide-body jets to be delivered after an order isn't short. The airlines are fighting to get the earlier slot or are using every possible occasion, such as other carriers' bankruptcy, to reduce the waiting time. This can be especially seen now as manufacturers face supply chain issues. This might be the reason with Delta. The airline simply decided that it's worth keeping delivery slots for the wide-body aircraft, as it would have to wait even more in the future if it changed the decision and decided to get the 787 after all. The rumors in the industry were that Boeing pressed the airline to cancel its order so the jets could be freed up for another buyer with more immediate needs, such as Iran Air, which at the time ordered many Western-made aircraft. So, the reason for the 787 order cancellation is simple. The fleet of 18 planes is not commercially viable, as the maintenance, spare parts, and specifically trained crew costs are simply too high. Delta wanted to have a less complex fleet so that it could reduce operating costs. For a similar reason, the airlines decided to retire 10 Boeing 777s in 2020. The official press release about the 787 order cancellation stated the following: Delta is one of the world's largest operators of Boeing aircraft, and our valued partnership with Boeing will remain strong as we safely and comfortably serve our customers across the world every day. This business decision is consistent with Delta's fleet strategy to prudently address our wide-body aircraft needs. With the focus on Airbus wide-bodies, the airline could also negotiate better conditions for its future orders, as the more you order, the better negotiating position you have. A similar example of that kind of situation is Emirates with its A380 fleet. You can watch the video about it on my channel as well. There is also one interesting thing in this situation. If the 787s had entered Northwest's fleet in 2008, there is almost 100% probability that Delta would have been a Boeing 787 operator today, because it would make zero sense for Delta to retire the 787s if they were only a year or two old by the time of the merger. In addition, Northwest held options for more 787s, which could be later exchanged for larger 787-9s orders to replace the 747-400s, which Delta also inherited after the merger with Northwest. But that's all alternative history. Now you know the reason why Delta doesn't have any 787s, even that it's extremely popular aircraft that both the United and American have in their fleet. However, that may change in the future, as it might make sense for such a large airline to have a second type of wide-body plane. However, the condition is simple. The subfleet has to be large enough so the operating costs wouldn't be too high, which wasn't the case with the Delta 787 order. For now, when flying Delta on long-haul flights, you will have a high chance to fly on board an Airbus plane, as the airline will soon start retiring their aging 767s. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, like and subscribe to my channel.